please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. It was an interesting day too of NASSCOM. We spoke to some of the biggest global voices, including the creator of the first humanoid and the heads of big global companies like Emerson and Coursera. Listen in. I have with me David Hanson, the CEO of Hanson Robotics and the creator of the popular Sophia. Thank you so much, David, for speaking to us and taking out the time. You've had a busy schedule, I know. Your session was very exciting. I want to understand what you make of the Indian AI robotics scene. You've spoken to a few people, you've interacted with startups in the country. Being a pioneer yourself, what do you make of where India is placed right now?
I think India is in a very good position. First of all, the emphasis on science and technology in the country puts India in a very good position relative to technology awareness and literacy. So the time that we live in produces tools that can be used by anybody anywhere in the world, and you can have innovators who can come from a village at this point. It would not have been possible 20 years ago, but now the tools are available for almost anybody to learn how to program. At the same time, I've been very impressed by the quality of technology and science education in schools such as IIT. I had the privilege to lecture at IIT Kanpur and IIT Roorkee at their technology events a few years ago, and have stayed friends with some of the students from these institutions and have been very impressed with where they're going with their careers. So the time is right for a country like India to become a major player in the world of artificial intelligence and robotics.
If you could give us a quick glimpse into what it took to reach the point of creating Sophia and her siblings.
Sure. As a child, I was very interested in science and math, and I was also interested in arts and ideas. Okay. Ultimately, the study of science and engineering and math led me to the conclusion that if we could achieve a true thinking machine that would reinvent itself to be smarter, that you would have something like an intelligence explosion, something like a Moore's law of accelerating super intelligent machines. My feeling was that humans were going to destroy this planet. On our own, we're not smart or wise enough. We have to get wiser, we have to get smarter. So it felt like a moral obligation to pursue these. So in a sense, that was a dream fueled by reason. But also a dream fueled by science fiction and philosophy and exposure just to playing with ideas. That playful energy, that inspired me to develop Sophia as a quest to make machines that are wise and emotionally meaningful to people. So, Sophia means wisdom.
As far as India is concerned, how important is India for Coursera? How active has the Indian community been in terms of adopting online learning, really?
India has been super active on Coursera. There are about 3 million learners from India on the Coursera platform. It's actually the largest country outside the United States. So Coursera is very committed to helping learners in India get a great education.
Fantastic. Now, if I can talk about what are the kind of courses that Indians are more interested in, would you have an idea of what they want to learn out there?
So, you know, AI is actually one of the most popular topics among Indian learners. The machine learning course I created several years ago was actually the most popular course taken by Indian learners in 2017.
Do you think that the old format of education, the traditional format, where you talk about high school and then graduation and then getting a degree, just going out there and climbing the work ladder professionally, is that outdated? Do you have to constantly keep learning now, even for professionals?
Yes, I think lifelong learning is a new constant. The old model of college, where you go to college for 4 years and coast for the next 40, that just doesn't work in today's world, where technologies and industries and economies are evolving so rapidly that everyone has to keep on learning for your whole life.
What is the kind of scope, really, and potential for AI as far as professionals are concerned?
For individuals, AI offers an opportunity to participate in a small but rapidly growing piece of our economy. I think AI will transform every major industry. I've been saying AI is the new electricity. Just as electricity starting 100 years ago transformed every industry, manufacturing, agriculture, communications, healthcare, AI has now reached the point where we see a surprisingly clear path for it to also transform every industry.
Well, Andrew, if I can just, highlight one of the recent initiatives that you've undertaken, a $175 million dollar fund for startups, AI startups. Talk to us really about that fund, that fundraising opportunity, and what really are you looking to do while you mentor such AI startups?
If you look at the last technological wave, the rise of the internet, some incumbents did a great job transforming themselves to be internet companies. Microsoft and Apple in the US really did a great job transforming. There are also startups that did a great job riding the rise of the internet. So I think startups back then, like Google, Facebook, Baidu, Amazon, maybe Flipkart. So I think just as with the rise of the internet, there'll be opportunities for incumbents and opportunities for new entrants. So Landing.ai is focused on helping existing companies transform, and the AI fund, where we'll raise $175 million US dollars, is focused on building new AI companies from scratch. Because I think both the incumbents and the new entrants, just like the rise of the internet, could do very meaningful work.
We've seen a lot of action from the U.S. government in recent weeks. First, of course, the cut in corporate taxes, and what does it mean for a company like yourself?
Well, for us, obviously, there's a nice improvement, which we were able to talk to our investors about last week in terms of the earnings per share and the return, and our ability to invest in capital, and so we increased our capital budget. The big thing that I've actually seen, though, is it's very attractive for foreign direct investment into the United States.
Because of the tax reforms, we're expecting a lot of repatriation of funds back into the U.S., and that will probably mean more spending as far as outsourcing and offshoring is concerned. That's a way of looking at it. Do you agree?
Well, I don't necessarily agree, because not all the money is going to be repatriated, only the money that's not being used.
Interesting.
And so we have plenty of cash out there to drive investments in what we call emerging markets, which India, of course, is a big piece of, and any capital that's needed. But if there's excess, maybe it should be returned to the shareholders.
From a merchant's point of view, which emerging markets do you think will bring in the next wave of growth? What countries or geographies are you bullish on in the next 5-year horizon?
In the 5-year, it's an old answer, but China is in a new phase. And as they have built their consumer economy, China is much stronger than it's been in the past. We're very optimistic about India. India has had a struggle to get up to the level where they want to, or need to. But we see a 3, 4, 5-year period in India that's very favorable.
If I can ask you any specifics that you can throw the spotlight on as far as investment and expansion plans in India is then concerned?
Yeah, well, there's two things. One, we used India because it's a terrific engineering source. Our ability to hire and retain high-level engineering talent is almost unequaled in the world. So our global engineering centers here are very productive. But now we see the opportunity to manufacture in India, not just for India, which we've done in the past, but for a full region. And so we invest in India for the Middle East, for Africa, for Southeast Asia, and for India. One of the biggest populations on the planet in that region, all centered in our factories in India. So we're building our 18th factory now in Chakan, and I go to Chennai tomorrow to pick out land for our 19th factory in India to serve the region.
What is the outlook for FY19 as far as the IT/ITES sector goes?
I think the growth, as I understand the forecast, is good. Maybe not great, but good, because there's some different dynamics going on, but I think there's a missed opportunity. And the IT sector has isolated itself to how businesses run rather than how operations run. And I think there's a huge opportunity for the IT expertise to move into the operations space.
With all the top voices from India Inc. and the global IT community, it's an absolute wrap from all the action here in Hyderabad. Thank you so much for watching.
and welcome to this special show coming to you from the NASSCOM Leadership Forum. I'm Nitya Balakrishnan and with me is Kritika Saxena. Clearly the highlight of day 2 was the strategic guidance review issued by NASSCOM, which indicates on face value, Kritika, that FY19 is going to be slightly better than FY18.
Oh, yes, Nitya. Look at the numbers. For FY18, they came in at 7.8%, which they released today. For FY19, they're expecting 7 to 8%. But as far as jobs is concerned, the net hire will be 100,000, which is absolutely flat when compared to FY18. Listen in to what NASSCOM had to say for this. 7 to 9%, very clearly signaling that FY19 looks like at least to be slightly better than FY18. What gives you that confidence?
You see, first is if you look at the macro picture, then we are seeing an uptick in the global economy at a global level, in the US, in Europe, and many of our key markets as well. That is one key indicator, because usually that translates into better business opportunities. The second is, if you look at all the forecasts of technology spend, that is also in sync. Because whether you look at Gartner, Forrester, all the people who track these trends, not only are those positive, but they have been revised several times, because they are revised on a quarterly basis. And the prognosis has always shifted upwards, which means that even those estimates are being revised upwards. All of this means that there is very strong reason and ground for optimism. At the same time, it's also clear that an economic upswing in terms of higher GDP growth or higher technology spend does not immediately translate into business opportunities. There is a little bit of a lag, and that is what we have also factored in the analysis that we have made.
So we see this in the RFIs and RFPs that are coming. As Shekhar said,
in terms of new orders and new deals?
Yes, there is a lag, and we brought out very clearly that we see that upswing coming in the second half of next year, because for this to translate into business, the optimism that we are seeing globally, it was very evident in Davos. The optimism we are seeing in the Indian growth rate, there is a lag time, and we are factoring in that lag in the latter part of the year.
Speaking about hiring, 100,000 was the amount that you got about in FY18. You're looking at the same number in FY19. Is that the trend that is likely to continue with the delinearity in revenue and employee? And what would you say to people who may be wary of the fact that jobs or additional jobs are gradually decreasing?
So 100,000 by this industry is the net new increase. A lot of losses that happen, a lot of attrition that happens in this industry is being hired by companies that have to digitize. All the digitization impact, where we are saying is growing at twice the rate at which this industry is going or more, is consuming those people. So the IT professionals being employed is much larger than the 100,000 number.
Now, that was NASSCOM's rationale, but we also spoke to a few mid-cap IT companies, including the likes of Mindtree, NIIT and Cyient, and all three believe that 7 to 9% is a realistic target, and they will be able to cross it in FY19.
We're talking about 7-odd% range that they've given us. It was 7 to 8 last year, 7 to 9 this year, Mr. Thakur. Do you think that we're definitely going to see better growth than we did in FY18?
Well, as you can see that the range has expanded from 7 to 8 to 7 to 9. So definitely it's going to be a better year. As you know that the industry is in a state of transition. The traditional service lines are giving way to new digital service lines. And I think the pivot is happening during this period. And that's the reason why we expect a better year next year.
Well, domestic growth is also forecast at 10 to 12%. And are you confident of achieving that target as far as domestic growth is concerned on the whole as a sector?
I think we are seeing significant traction in the domestic market, particularly with all the support and push that we're getting from the government in driving digitization in the country. And the government is also are very keen to implement inclusive growth.
Absolutely.
And so all this is leading to a favorable position as far as technology adoption is concerned in the country.
Mr. Thakur, if we talk about NIIT Tech, Q3 you did see 21% growth in profits. What's the outlook for Q4 like, really?
So we've seen steady margin improvement in our business, and that's again coming on the back of a larger proportion of digital business in our revenue mix. Our digital revenues grew 10% sequentially in the last quarter.
Yes.
And so, you know, we expect to continue to see that trend going forward as well. So we have also in fact guided on a better operating margin in Q4 as compared to Q3.
Absolutely, 17.1 in Q3, you're expecting that to improve as well. And BFSI was a sector that worked really well for you, the vertical. So you expect strong growth in BFSI, and what other verticals are you bullish on?
That's right. So I think in BFSI there are two elements. There's BFS and I. So I, which is insurance, has been traditionally very strong for us. But where we have seen good traction has been on the digital services and solutions that we're providing to the BFS segment. So that's a very specialized area in which we've been focused on, which has seen tremendous growth. And that's the reason why that's a strong vertical for us.
I have with me Rostov Ramanan from Mindtree. Rostov, thank you so much for speaking to us. There's a lot of buzz over here. There's a lot of excitement. NASSCOM just released a strategic review, and they project a growth of 7 to 9% for FY19, which essentially means that FY19 will be better than FY18. Is that the case for Mindtree as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think we are ending 2018 on a very, very positive note. You've seen our results for the last couple of quarters, both in terms of order wins and in terms of some of the new projects we are delivering to customers is very, very strong. So we also agree that 2019 will be a better year. Will be a better year.
Okay. 7 to 9%, will Mindtree be able to cross that? You have been crossing industry. I know you don't give guidance specifically, but you have been crossing industry average growth rates, which it would be 7 to 9%. Would you be able to cross that? Would that be the aspiration?
Oh, absolutely. So our aspiration is to grow faster than industry, and like you said, we've been living up to that expectation over the last few years. And if all goes well, hopefully we should, do better than 7 to 9 next year also.
For FY19. For
right.
FY18, you will be growing above 7.8%, correct?
Correct. So we'll go higher than 7.8% for this year as well. So hopefully, our good fortune will continue, and we'll do better than the industry next year as well.
Okay. Rasa, I want to understand your target for digital. We've heard a lot of people now over here talk about how, from blockchain and AI to data analytics, there is an active influx of large deals coming in from the digital space.
That's true.
Would you look at, perhaps looking at increasing your target as far as the digital revenue base is concerned over a period of 3 years?
Oh, completely. I think our growth in digital is always almost 2x the growth of Mindtree. And if you look at March 2017, Mindtree grew 9.5%, but our digital business grew about 18%. So our digital business is growing significantly larger than the rest of Mindtree.
7 to 9% is the kind of export revenues growth forecast that they have for FY19. Do you think that the sector will meet it, beat it? What is your outlook?
I believe that it's a very conservative estimate at this point of time. They'll certainly meet those numbers because there's, I think, fairly large amount of upside still to capture, which is unfolding at this point of time. There are new technologies which have come in, and people are now at this point of time trying to feel the technology. We don't know how the uptake would be with the customers. There's demand from the customers, all right, but that's not crystallized as of now. But as we progress into the year, I think a lot more will happen. So my belief is these are very realistic or pragmatic numbers, but there's sizable amount of upside to capture thereafter.
If I can throw the spotlight on Cyient, you did see, significant performance in Q3. Margins beat the street expectations. Are you expecting that uptick in margin growth to continue for the rest of the year?
Well, we're in the middle of the quarter. I need to be very careful in what I see. Absolutely. I think the momentum continues to be there in business at this point of time. We're seeing a good amount of traction from our customers. And we've also been in a position to get more service offerings into play. The fact that a services company now has an incubation center. Last week we ran a drone hackathon in our facility. Some of these initiatives are certainly helping us in terms of showcasing to our customers our ability to demonstrate technologies to them which could be useful to them. So therefore, I think the momentum as far as science is concerned is in a very positive terrain.
Absolutely. 6 out of 8 verticals, in fact, in Q3, we did see double-digit growth. So what are the verticals that are going to click for you in FY19 then?
I think all the 8 verticals are good for us. Our aerospace is doing well. That's the largest vertical for us. Our smallest vertical is medical electronics and healthcare.
Sure.
We are very upbeat on that too, because that is where I think there is tremendous amount of opportunity that lies.
On that note, it's time to slip into a quick breather right here on the special show. But when we come back, we throw the spotlight onto artificial intelligence. David Hanson, the creator of Sophia, and Coursera's co-founder Andrew on the other side.